Expelled from Dartford Technical School for truancy, the headmaster suggested to Keith Richards that he would be better off at art school. Keith took his headmaster's advice and immersed himself in this heady, creative environment of art school, where he devoted his time to playing guitar. Even at this early stage, he was already taking whatever drugs he could get his hands on, with fellow student and future musical colleague Dick Taylor. They would swallow anything from girls' menstruation pills to pep diet pills, whatever would keep them awake and give them a buzz. Since then, he has been tried on drug charges 5 times, in 1967, twice in 1973, in 1977 and in 1978.
London. It's years since such crowds gathered to await an appeal verdict. But this was a Rolling Stones case with the fans out in force. When Mick Jagger was conditionally discharged and Keith Richards' sentence quashed, the pop idols drove off, the shadow of jail no longer over them. Mick held a press conference in Soho soon afterwards. Keith had chickenpox, so couldn't be there. But Marianne Faithfull was present, delighted with the verdict.
Keith was found guilty of allowing cannabis to be smoked on his property and was sentenced to 1 year in prison. He and Mick Jagger were released on bail the next day, pending appeal, and buoyed by public outrage and media support, the convictions were overturned a month later due to lack of evidence. 10 years later, Keith was still up to his old tricks and back up on drugs charges.
Just get a word with. Keith Richards, how do you think this conviction is going to affect you and your music and the Rolling Stones?
I don't know, I just want to get on with it now that it's over. You know, I just get on with what I'm supposed to be doing instead of worrying about this, you know.
Do you think it will have any effect then?
I don't know, I might get a song out of it.
What do you think about the way the case went?
I don't think anything. I didn't know what to expect, and what happened is what happened.
I don't think you can talk about it very much because we haven't had a chance to talk to the lawyers, really.
It came as no surprise then that Keith Richards revealed in an interview with British magazine NME in April 2007 that he snorted his dad's ashes in a drugs binge. He said that he mixed his father's cremated remains with a bit of cocaine and called this his strangest drug experience to date. Richard's father, Bert, died in 2002 at the age of 84. Later reports clarified that Keith had only snorted a little bit of his dad's ashes with no cocaine and then buried them under a tree. Richards seems to revel in his bad boy of rock and roll image. He has claimed that his actions in his early career have confirmed in people's minds that he is still a mad drug addict and that nothing he does now will change their minds.
I'm checking out the scripts.
His bizarre accident in 2006 would have done little to help the cause. Keith suffered from a head injury when he fell out of a tree in Fiji, forcing the band to delay the European leg of their world tour. The Stones had been scheduled to kick off Europe's Bigger Bang tour with a show in Barcelona in May. But they pushed back the date to let Keith recover from surgery after suffering concussion. They ended up moving their opening gig to Italy. Keith, who allegedly came up with the riff for Satisfaction in his sleep, waking up just long enough to record it on a cassette player by his bed, joked at a press conference about undergoing brain surgery.
They put me out like a light, you know, but I remember making the decision to go ahead and do it, and I was surprised myself. Usually I'd be hanging from the ceiling at the idea of brain surgery, you know. But I had total confidence in it. When you got to do it, you got to do it, you know. And I was in, woke up. I was pissed off when they woke me up because I was having such a great sleep, you know.
And he avoided answering questions about what he'd been doing up a tree in the first place.
I feel great. I can't wait to get back on the stage again. You know, basically everything's cool.